Hey all, it's Joe again. I haven't done this in a little while, but today was Record Store Day on April, what is it today, 17th, on 2015. So, and my kitty's in the frame here. Sorry, he may jump up in and out of frame every once in a while. Anyway, so Record Store Day. So, vinyl has become ubiquitous in my life again. It's probably the best form of therapy that I know. So I was curious. One of those things I'd love to do is just kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff that I've been buying recently, mostly reissues of things, but a few new things as well. So today I visited In Your Ear over in Warren. My old friend Chris has a place there, and then also in Cambridge as well. And I also go to Newbury Comics. Those are my two regular sort of haunts in general, and then there's also Round Again Records on Wicked and in Providence. Those are the big three. So, but not only just for Record Store Day, but just for in general the stuff that I've been doing or getting lately. So one of the things that I got recently, with a little background here, is many people who know me know that I'm a huge fan of the Firesign Theater, and back in 1972, they released a record called Dear Friends, which was a little compilation, double album compilation of a radio show series that they had done. They were also on live on the radio just about every week from 1970 to through 73. They're almost thereabouts, and they had originally done a syndicated version of that particular radio series. That was 12 albums. I think it might have been a 12-album series. Anyway. But they only so basically it was a box set of 12 albums, and they only made 100 copies of that again, and that was for syndication. So those have been floating around. So I've been trying like the dickens to get a complete set of those. So this gives you an idea of what the labels look like, because they were just in plain wrappers with the labels. See, Dear Friends Part 1, and they all had sort of different colors. Like the next one had this color, etc., etc. So I was in need of. I had almost a full set. I only needed 3 pieces to create like a full set. Now, on the Firesign Theater website, they do this thing called a fire sale every once in a while, and they'll actually rummage through their archives and sell people stuff for bread, for money, to go towards other projects that they're doing. Taylor Jessen, who is their archivist, was very kind enough to let me know that the 3 episodes or the 3 albums that I needed of that series that they had in promo version, like these are actually like test pressings of those syndicated shows. So I was able to get episode 1. You can see it says Dear Friends, Firesign Theater, episode 1, Live at the Ash Grove, and then the 2 other ones, episode 9. Episode 8, and again, these are the test pressings. So, technically speaking, I've got the full set now. Now, I'm still going to be looking for the 3 that have those with the labels as well. So, if anybody out there sees this and has those 3, I'm still looking for them. And that's basically, it's album 1, album 9, and album 7. So I've had that for a while. I've been wanting to do that just because for my Firesign friends and all that. So then recently also doing, actually I'm going to put these over here. And then again recently doing some local record store, not Record Store Day, but rock and roll yard sale things. And there's one particular rock and roll yard sale that has been going on since I was, God knows it's been going on for probably 30, 40 years at this point, and I've actually been going to it since I was in like 12, so I was 12 or 13. My mom used to take me over to the Hojo's in Pawtucket. That was the first place that we ever went to. But it's the same people. It's still $2 to get in. It's been $2 to get in since I started going when I was, again, 12 or 13. So that gives you a pretty good idea of what they're about, and it's all about the music. And my kitty's going to be starting to make some noise. Anyway, so the last one that I went to, they only do 2 a year. I wish they would do more, but the last one that I went to, I just scored a few things of some items that I didn't have in my collection, and amazingly enough, for those of you who know that I'm a Monkees fan, I did not have an actual vinyl of this album that they put out in 1987 at their big initial reunion stage the vinyl of it. I had the CD of it and a tape of it and all that, but I did not have the actual original vinyl. So, you know, not their best effort. I mean, it was a reunion effort. It wasn't really, you know, it was what it was. But hey, it's the Monkees, so what are you gonna do? All right. So then, along the same links of the Firesign Theater, another one that I somehow did not have the vinyl to, which I was quite amazed about that I didn't. Nick Danger, Third Eye, The Case of the Missing Shoe, which was actually meant to just be something of a. Stop that. My plant is in the shot as well. This album was meant, or the content of the album was meant to be sort of like a pilot for a bigger. They were pushing to do like a full-on radio show with this, and this was sort of like these mini episodes, like 6 mini episodes, to create this little 12-minute mystery drama. The radio series did not get picked up. Rhino released it, and then David Osmond promptly left for clearer, calmer waters for a little while before reuniting a little bit later. So anyway, that's the history of that. So now, so this next record that I got from that particular thing was the Bee Gees, Odessa. Now, anybody who knows this record, it's the early Bee Gees before they went Saturday Night Live on Saturday Night Fever on Yes Honest. It was very wonderfully melodic pop, orchestrated folk rock. I mean, it was really just beautiful, beautiful work and harmonies, and you know everything you love about the Beatles. That early Bee Gees sound was just as good. And this particular record was their 4th record, I believe, and they released it in the day. Let's see, this was in 1969, so it was of the day. So if you look at the record, this is an original first pressing, by the way, and it's in actually fairly stellar shape considering most of the versions of this record I get or that I see are in horrible shape, because this is an actual felt cover. It's like the whole. So you can actually see the imprint of the record, but it's usually I've seen so much worse. This is actually a really good copy for being a first printing. They've since re-released it, but it's a double album, and it's just one of those beautiful kinds of packages, and the reasons why. One of the main reasons why I love to do vinyl, because it's just so cool to hold, and then while you're listening to it, you just kind of, it's a sensory experience that MP3s don't give you. Just saying. MP3s are for your car. Period. Just saying. By the way, kids, take your earbuds out. They're gonna ruin your hearing. Okay. Uncle Joe will go away now. Anyway, so some other recent purchases that I did. Of course, Beatles. Hey. Can't go wrong with the Beatles, because the Beatles will be re-released and over-re-released and re-released until the day I probably die, which could be tomorrow, could be 40, 50 years from now, God knows. Anyway, the recent spate of re-releases, especially on vinyl, are actually quite impressive. They what they did is they've done a couple of different versions. They did stereo versions on vinyl, but the problem with those is that what they did is they used digital sources for the masters of those, so they are not true to what they were in the 60s as far as the sound of them go. So in other words, they took the actual analog masters that had been turned into digital masters. They took the digital masters and remastered to vinyl from those. So you're not really getting a full analog. So since they got many letters about that particular little snafu, they decided, all right, we're going to put all the mono versions out, which in the 60s was the primary thing. You're going to have to wait, dude. He wants to go out. So what they did is they set up about putting, first it was originally supposed to just be a box set, and it wasn't going to be released, so it was supposed to be a limited edition. Clearly more people wanted to buy it, and they didn't have the money to buy the entire box, so they started selling them separately. So the first one that I bought was the Beatles White Album, and again, with these remasters, they've gone the whole 9 route. The embossed lettering. This is basically a fake number. in the 60s they did an actual set of numbers for both Britain and America. So that's a fake number that's pretty much on every single mono, which is kind of a bummer. I wish they kind of would have done that's like, minor quibbling. But here's the little thing telling you how they sourced everything and all that kind of stuff. So it's official Beatles. But again, it's got the full, this is what it looked like when you bought it back in the 60s, pretty much. Just wonderfully, just beautiful artwork, just really nice card stock. Now this is the British iteration, which has the pockets on the top instead of the sides, like America. So in other words, and each of the albums was put into a black sleeve, so a little sort of black white kind of configuration there with the Apple logo. But then of course you have the again, these reprints and remasters are all down to the letter, so you get the poster that came with it. I'm not going to unfurl the whole poster because it's kind of big, but again, this is the original poster of that. And then also the 8x10s. I remember my sister had these. I have a picture, or there was a picture somewhere of my sister opening this for Christmas. Would have been November of '68. At the time, because of the song "Back in the USSR," my father, in all of his glory, decided that the Beatles were communist because of "Back in the USSR." I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so that's that remaster or that release, I should say. And again, the attention to detail is quite striking, and that's why I like what's happening with the vinyl resurgence. It's just, I think, people need the visceral sort of the thing to hold in their hands. It's a commitment to put vinyl on a turntable and then sit there with headphones or in front of a nice speaker system and listen without doing anything else apart from maybe looking at the cover. That's it. In this day and age, that's therapy. So I'm trying to get back into more of that therapy because, for the love of God, I need it. Anyway, another of the monos that I got is the Beatles Revolver. I haven't even opened this one yet, but same thing. Again, this is all the English iterations of the printing and stuff like that. So then another recent trawl at Round Again Records was probably Moody Blues loaded. It seems like all in one place. There was a number of releases, or a number of things that I actually never had, and I always wanted them because I'm a big Moody Blues fan as well. So, and again, all in fairly good condition considering. So these are all solo releases when Moody Blues took a break in like '77 or something like that from being the Moody Blues because they were probably sick of each other. They all put out solo records and stuff. And Michael Pinder, keyboard player, put out this is I think the only, no, maybe not the only, but this was the first solo album that he did. So, to get a nice big fat gatefold with color and then an inner sleeve, nicely printed and all this kind of stuff. I mean, again, I don't know, there's just something I live for, the full-on package. There's just something, there's something so satisfying. And what's even more satisfying is when you bring it home and you have one of these poly bags and you put it in a poly bag to keep it as safe and sound and clean as possible, right? How nice is that? And then another one, Justin Hayward, for his first solo album as well, genius songwriter of the Moody Blues. I'm not sure if this one had an insert in it, mainly because I think, again, there's a gatefold that has all the lyrics in it, so it probably didn't. But I'm not sure about that, so I didn't see one, and I don't remember ever seeing one. So I'm going to assume there isn't, but who knows? I keep checking because you never know. Sometimes I find out years later that some of these things had inserts and never realized it. And it's not just for the inserts, but again, you want the complete package. It's like an unfolding piece of sculpture to me. Like, John Lodge, his first solo record as well, and he just put out a new solo record called 10,000 Light Years, I think it's called. And I'm actually curious to get it because it sounded kind of interesting from the promo. But anyway, this is the first one. Sexy shot of John Lodge. But like this one has a nice little. Again, didn't know this. Nice little insert with the lyrics and some stuff. The insert's a little dirty, but sometimes the inserts they are what they are. They get a little musty or dirty, but that being said, it's in pretty good condition. Considering anyway, it's considering it's like almost 40 years old. So again, for those of you who know me, I'm a huge Moody Blues fan. So it informed a lot of my mental and sort of musical psyche. I don't know, whatever. So they hold a really big place in my heart. Which in general, whenever I think of the Moody Blues, sometimes I just think of a big F.U. to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and shame on you for not putting them in like long ago, and the fact that they're still not in there above people like Madonna or whatever. No diss to Madonna at all, but the fact that the Moody Blues are not in there, F.U. Anyway, sorry, that's just a little side. I do that anyway. So another really good specimen here, Genesis' first record. Now this was a reissue on London in the 70s after they had gotten, and this record had only been initially released in England and had sold initially 600 copies, because originally this whole title here, Genesis, was not actually there. They had to put that in later because originally it was just this From Genesis to Revelation, so they thought it was a religious themed album, which it sort of is, ironically, but not in the way that you would think. So now, again, the reason why I bought it, because it's in really good condition, and there's my cat. It's very rare to find even any of the reissues or anything with the actual original insert for the first album. My cat is getting in the way. It's actually got little drawings and things from Peter Gabriel, that Peter Gabriel did. And excuse me, there he is. He's going to make himself known. Yeah, because this is what he does. See, this is why he's in the way. He's getting his 15 seconds of. I know it. Go on. Anyway, that's my cat. That's one of my cats. So anyway, I'd been looking for a copy of this with the insert. So that was a nice little find for fairly cheap, and. Which leads me to today's haul for Record Store Day. Probably the biggest haul I've actually ever done for Record Store Day, with a nice sort of balance between official Record Store Day product and just general stuff. So the first thing that I had been looking for that I wanted was Jethro Tull's Live at Carnegie Hall 1970 double album, which is the complete recording, like not edited. This has been the content of this has been released on a number of different ways. This should have been released in 1970, and the way they released it as a half album as part of the Living in the Past thing was kind of like they should have just done this in 1970. It's a little. I mean, it's never too late. I'm not saying that, but it's just like this should have come out in 1970. I think it probably would have. Not that they were already not big, but you know what I'm saying. I think. It's just one of those things I always kind of marvel at. Why the hell didn't that ever come out? Because it's amazing. It's an amazing performance. The Zombies, rest in peace. This is a it's 180 gram vinyl, limited collector's edition, etc. This is a record that was supposed to come out after Odyssey and Oracle came out, since that became a big hit after the Zombies had split up. Rod Argent and Chris White decided to put together a bunch of odds and sods and fix up some things and create a record and then give it to the record company, and the record company basically said, yeah, no, we're not putting this out. So, and this is like 1969. There was a couple of singles that were released from it, and basically nobody took to it after time of the season. They just said, yeah, no, their Zombies are broken up, so we're not doing this. So they never really released any of these until much later. I mean, I already have all the songs of these on various compilation packages, but this is the record that was supposed to come out in 1969 after Odyssey and Oracle. So just cool to have. Again, Andrew Sandoval, who has done a lot of these reissues from the 60s, had a lot to do with this, I think. He at least did the liner notes to it. So anyway, so that's a nice one. This one, well, the rest are just regular finds. They're not necessarily record store day things. So this first one, Zabriskie Point, is a movie that came out in the 60s, and it had a number of different people doing soundtrack to it. Namely, Pink Floyd, of course, did. This came out sort of between Amagama and Atom Heart Mother, I believe, in that sort of era. But this is a 2-album set, and when it was originally just a 1-album set. So it's got this disc 2 has one side of Jerry Garcia doing a bunch of improvs, and Pink Floyd stuff that's been unreleased for a long time, but has been ubiquitous in the bootleg scene. And I've always seen this record, but I got a good price for it today, so good score. And then, sure enough, it's like it's always the way. I got another one of these. This one, though, is a limited collector's edition of 1,500 copies. It's basically the thing, the Genesis record I just told you about, but this is like a brand new, it's sealed copy. So, I had wanted to get one or the other of the copies. So I've got one to play and I got one to keep. Lost in the Stars is a compilation of people doing Kurt Weill songs. I had the cassette to this when it first came out back in the 80s, and it's actually one of my favorite compilation records, like sort of ever. There's something about it that's like just really well done. It was produced by Hal Wilner, who somehow he's got a good facility for doing compilation stuff like this. So anyway, that's a good find. The first UK album is a prog rock supergroup. Eddie Jobson, John Wetton, Alan Holdsworth, Bill Bruford, and somehow, actually, someone gave away their signed copy. It's signed by Eddie Jobson and John Wetton themselves. Why would you give this away? What is wrong with you people? Just saying. Now this one is cool, and I've never actually seen an actual record of this particular group. And those of you who know I'm a Monkees fan, this is sort of like pre-Monkees. It's connected, The Modern Folk Quartet, which has a number of people who were very instrumental in the 60s scene after the fact. This gentleman here is Chip Douglas, who produced some of the best Monkey stuff. Henry Tad Diltz, if you know Henry Diltz, his work is photography work, and photographing pretty much every 60s group that there ever was. Jerry Yester, who also had a lot to do with the Lovin' Spoonful down the road. And then, who was the other guy? Sorry, yeah, of course. Cyrus Faryar, who produced a lot of people, Firesign Theater as well. So part of that LA scene. So I've never had them on vinyl, so I'm hoping to get. I think there's only one other release of theirs before they broke up. And then the last vinyl I got is from Yes. John Anderson of Yes put out a solo record back in the late 70s or so called Elias of Sun Hollow. And I had never had it. I have it on CD, but I've never had I've never found a really good vinyl copy of this. And this is just an exquisite copy. It's completely clean. But again, this goes towards the, just the sort of craft of making a really beautiful looking record. And this is, they made it look like a book. It's got like a binding here and all this kind of stuff. And you open it as a book, and it's a freaking book. There's literally, there's like it's only one page, but it's got a lovely, it's got all these gorgeous paintings and the story and the whole, just like, you just can't really go wrong with it. It's just beautiful shape. And I'm wondering if this is a Japanese version of it, because it's got a Japanese translator card, so it must be maybe a Japanese version of it. Don't know. I'm not really sure. But anyway, again, just another one of those really nice packages. And then to round it off, a few CD finds, mostly new stuff actually. Steve Hackett of Genesis, his newest record, Wolflight. Suddenly he's become the more famous of Genesis above both Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel. Go figure. Sufjan Stevens' new record, Carrying Lowell. I've heard some bits and pieces of it, and it's as good as anything I've heard from Illinois or any of his past stuff. It's just that most really beautiful, affecting, kind of sad and down stuff, this particular record, but I'm looking forward to even hopefully seeing him live too soon. Then, of course, Brian Wilson's new record, Peer Pressure. I've heard some stuff on this. Was supposed to be possibly what the Beach Boys would have put out after their last reunion record that he was going to produce. Mike Love put the kibosh on that. Brian Wilson said, okay, F you, I'm going to make my own record. So this, and I've heard some stuff from this, and it's just like, a return to form for him, I think, in a lot of ways. It's still Brian. It's still, you can tell he's still affected, but it's still Brian, so hey. Last but not least, an old favorite of mine, Jane Seabury, The Speckless Sky, was put out in 1985. I was working at Strawberries Records at the time when this came out, and she's from Canada, Canadian singer-songwriter, but the production on this record and the sound of it, and it's just like a really beautifully rendered, colorful, just like the first song on it, One More Color, is just like, I think it's actually like a psychedelic masterpiece, actually. Anyway, I found it for like a couple of bucks, so I couldn't help but grab it. All right, that's my show for this time. So hey, if you guys are interested and you like me doing this stuff, if you get a kick out of me just like unboxing my finds and messing around with the cats and being stupid online and on camera, well, put it down in the comments. If you don't like it, put it down in the comments. I'll just ignore you, whatever. But if you want me to do this again, I'll do it again. I'm easy. All right, so have a good day. Bye.